Uh-oh.
They're chipmunked.
We've been chipmunked. And she's gone.
Yeah, she'll be back. Yeah, she's back already. Look at that.
Okay, let's try.
Perfect.
Okay, glad I did that before the show started.
Unless you're supposed to have video, in which case it's broken.
Yeah, no. I was just gonna say I'm gonna turn my sound off. I need to call my mom real quick. Hopefully she doesn't need me to run over.
Okay.
Okay. I think I am going to leave my camera off, possibly go to my mom's, but like I might switch to my phone.
Okay.
And I'm trying to balance a few different things. So if I drop off, I'll be coming back.
Okay. A minute to go. Right, we are at time. Let's kick us live. There we are. We are live for another week, and it is Bill and Ammon's Bogus Hangout. Kristin is in the background somewhere. Jen and Terry, we don't know yet, but I'm sure they'll turn up. Let's kick off the traditional way. Bill, what have you been up to this week?
I've been working on audits. I've been hearing from a lot of people about audits, which is always a good thing. Except when they're like monster size websites.
Yeah. Yes, I did an audit not so long back that was basically 9.5 million pages. Took a while.
I can believe that.
Yeah. That was one. Your ordinary crawling tools will not handle that kind of thing at all. You really have to go for the sort of enterprise scale stuff to be able to crawl those. There are ways of crawling them in stages, but even then, yeah.
I'm sort of drawn to crawling significant enough of a site to identify issues with the site and not doing a fully comprehensive crawl and trying to identify everything, because if I can solve the problems, it makes a big difference. Yeah.
Often what I'll do with that, where I'm not using the enterprise solutions because it might be a very small budget client, I want to show them things they can do themselves, is I will literally crawl one depth from the home page, and then we'll pick some of the interior landing pages that we hope people are going to link to and land on, specific product pages or things like that, or specific article pages, and we'll crawl one link depth from there. And obviously, if we get to a stage where any of those break the tool, we already know that the site has a problem.
Right.
Too many links from one page. It's a handy way of doing it. It's snapshots, but that still works for people who aren't ready for the enterprise level crawling. The only thing that you have to be careful of is, a full crawl finds all those duplicates that the site was determined it didn't have.
Right.
And then suddenly you find them all. It's sometimes with that minimalist crawling, you don't find them. You have to look very carefully to find those. But sometimes you won't find those on a crawl anyway, because they're actually from third-party links, where somebody's put in an extra parameter that the site wasn't expecting. and then the site has kept that parameter all the way through, keeping, giving a duplicate of the page with this new parameter.
Mm-hmm.
So was this a first audit on a new client, or an audit on an existing one?
So first audit on a new client.
Yeah. It always does give you so much information to start working with, because it's great to hear the business's side of what they want to achieve and where they think they are, but so often they're not quite where they think they are, and that's why they've got issues that they've called in somebody like us to help with.
Often many sites start off without too much SEO in mind and succeed, and then realize they have some problems that they hadn't anticipated, and want to know how to get around those. I just had one site that it's been getting terrific press. It's a really useful website. It's having lots of problems getting crawled until we took over and installed a XML sitemap index. So we had some control over what was getting crawled, and we had some sense of how it was getting crawled.
Yeah. Yeah. Hi, Jen. How are you?
Hello. Coming in a few minutes late as usual.
Terry's not here yet. I don't know where he is, but hopefully he's well. Yeah, we were talking audits again, Jen. Yeah, saying some of them can be, breaking some of the major tools.
I was just talking on Twitter today about, I had one where they had their site name as a title tag, as the only title tag across hundreds of pages. And that is exactly why Google goes and rewrites titles for people, because stupid stuff like that.
Yes, exactly. And sometimes, they're rewriting a title. I'm not always happy about their rewriting of titles. Descriptions, absolutely fine with, always have been. But I'm a person who generally chooses titles quite carefully. And
what's kind of interesting is if you do searches to bring up the same page, but you put different queries in that will still bring up that page, and you can see how Google tweaks the title depending on what your search query is. So I can kind of see that in their head they're thinking that, hey, we can probably increase CTR if we know this content's on the page and we can tweak the title. But then, people get really cranky when Google changes their carefully crafted title that fits perfectly within their guidelines and makes it horrible.
Yep. I'm just going to quickly put the live link into the event for people, because we haven't got any particular named guests this week. I'm chasing up people for future weeks. We are owed a turn up by Christine Churchill and Deborah Mastala. And this week we invited Sophie in, who was talking about part of her dissertation, if I remember rightly, is that she's looking at organisation in SEO. And basically, Bill and I remember, a few of these potential startups in the past, not just Sempo. So, we when she asked if we could talk about it, we said, yeah, sure, why not come on the Bogus Hangout and we'll all talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
I remember the Sempo one got such pushback from the whole industry because of how they wanted to do it. So I think anyone that wants to do it is going to have to do it very carefully and kind of look at the things that people didn't like about the Sempo one and work around it.
Sempo seems to have learned a lot from that. They've moved in somewhat different directions more recently. They are a lot more education focused than they have been, and they've been pursuing strengthening local branches of Sempo.
Yeah. Which I don't know. To an extent, I think it took them a long time to get there. We had a discussion in Creators at the time. The discussion about Sempo was going for weeks before anybody from Sempo turned up, and we'd invited them. Emailed them specifically. Even it then had quite a lot of misinformation in. We were told the wrong place it had incorporated and under which laws. We were told they didn't know this, they didn't know that. Barbara missed out the fact that she was taking a stipend. It was very, very confused.
Yeah, I did some interviews with them about the whole thing. I think a lot of it had to do with they wanted the community to put forth their ideas and kind of mold how their code of ethics would work, except they only wanted to draw those people from the local groups of Sempo. And until then, I didn't even actually realize Canada had a Sempo. And so I would have automatically been excluded. And a lot of people who would have had really good input into a code of ethics were not basically going to be a part of this because they weren't part of the top leadership in each of these Sempos that were wherever they're located throughout North America mainly.
Okay.
That was a more recent effort by them, and it seemed pretty confused too. We're talking about the things that were happening when they first started Sempo.
Oh,
And
way back.
Way back, right. And the head of Sempo was taking a stipend for running Sempo, equivalent to what she might make doing SEO regularly. Like she was paying herself $105,000 a year to run Sempo.
Wow.
Yeah.
They must have been doing a lot better than I realized.
They had gotten some contributions.
Yeah, 200 and something thousand in early memberships within the first few months,
And
because they were very expensive memberships.
And they were linking to organizations who had joined from their front page with links that definitely weren't no follow.
Well, that would have been back in what, like 2003 or so? 2004? So that would have been kind of like pre-no follow, and back then everybody was linking to everybody and nobody cared.
It was 2004, but it was far enough long so that people were referring to it as the golden circle of power.
Then reports that we've got no sound. I have no idea why. Everything's working our end. We can hear each other. So why YouTube's not picking up the sound, I cannot possibly imagine.
It's strange. I thought it's me, but yeah, you can't get on YouTube. You can't get the sound. Here it's no problem, but on YouTube it's kind of. I thought it's me on my connection or something.
Steve and I were uploading some videos a couple of days ago to YouTube and had the same issue. We recorded the video, it played back just fine. We uploaded and it went up without sound. They seem to be having some bugs.
That's unfortunate.
Well, Google, it's been 10 years since Google paid $1.6 billion for YouTube. At some point, they're going to get it to work right.
I understand they're going to try to get Microsoft to consult on the side. That ought to set them back a decade.
They used to work for Bing they could employ. Yeah. I have no idea what the issue is. I've looked through all the settings. Everything's as it normally is. And as I say, we all hear each other just perfectly.
No, it's not here. It's not here.
Yeah, it does seem to be on YouTube's end. I will quickly nip over to YouTube and just see if there's anything weird in the settings there, and see if there's anything I can do with the Creator Studio. Talk amongst yourselves. Bill,